Hello and welcome to my channel, the place where I take you on RV tours, campground tours, to hiking destinations, and so much more. So today I'm here with Trey of Tiffin Motorhomes, and what do you have for us today, Trey?
So this is the 2026 GH1. I'm hoping by now a lot of your viewers have seen the 25 and the 23 models. So what's going to, if you're familiar with the 25, what's going to stand out to this right away is that visually very little looks different.
Okay.
I know you did a video on the 23.
I did.
A great video. Everyone loved it.
Thank you.
Back at the factory, we all watched that video. So versus the 23, there are quite a few significant changes. So you've got our adventure bar, very, very popular. Almost half the ones we sell have this in there. No one else has anything like this in the market. It's extremely popular with people that work remote.
Okay.
People that need a workspace on the go. You flip around your driver's seat, you got tons of space there. It's very ergonomic. You got your dedicated outlet. You can sit your laptop. You can put a desktop down there if you wanted, and a monitor up top. However you want to use that, you can. You've got all this extra storage over here.
Look at that.
A huge storage space out there. A drawer underneath. One of the biggest issues in B vans, as you know, is storage.
Exactly.
And so this, if you don't have extra people you're bringing along, or a big dog that needs a big place to lay, this solves a lot of problems that are typical with B vans.
I love it, and I see there's a couple of 110 outlets. And
yes, you got your dedicated outlets here,
right.
Dedicated cord storage here with a lip so it won't slide out. I typically put my laptop right here. You have all this extra space, so if you wanted to mount a microwave up here, whatever you wanted to do, you have all that access. Right. Another outlet down here if you need more power. You'll notice versus the 23 up here, we had a lot of this different little displays. You had your Go Power solar controller, your sea level monitor, etc. And then the 25, we introduced this panel that kind of showed some of your battery information, but you still had your solar controller, you still had your water levels. Now everything has been consolidated into this panel.
Okay.
And as I was explaining to you a minute ago before the video, one thing that's really critical with the off-road crowd is reliability. I have seen so many horror stories and talked to so many people that they go off-road, they hit a bump, tiny little wire breaks in their touchscreen, and they can't use anything on the coach. So one thing you'll notice is your critical systems are not actually controlled by this. You have your displays, you have all your battery information, your charging information, your tank levels, everything. But if that breaks, you just lack the information. You don't lack the ability to do anything. All your power systems are still working. You can still connect via Bluetooth to the Victron Smart Shunt that we've installed. Like, you're still able to control everything with at least one secondary way. And most stuff is switches. So you got your front lights, you got your rear lights. The only exception to that touchscreen rule is your Aqua Hot. That's really the only option they have. But the Aqua Hot's very, very popular. That's your hot water heater. And your heater for the inside of your coach.
Right.
It pulls diesel straight out of your tank, as you probably know. It's very, very popular. But again, for the off-road crowd, redundancy is another big thing. So you have your aqua heater, but you also have a heat pump on the Gree air conditioner.
Okay.
And then if you need to run your cab for extra heat, so when you're looking at an all-seasons van, you want to have those backups. I had a friend once who was stuck in northern Alaska. He went snowmobiling under the auroras.
Ooh,
right?
That's
he
nice.
gets back in his van and it won't turn on. He and his wife had to huddle over a generator for warmth until they found a tow truck to come 2 hours out into the snow. Had a $10,000 tow bill.
Brutal.
It was horrible. It's like, so those little things are important. So like on here, it's hard to see from this angle. We can go around and look at it from the outside. There's a button to the bottom left of your steering wheel where if your chassis battery dies, you press that button, it says merge, and it will jump start your chassis off your rear batteries.
Okay.
So just press one button, it does one surge to jump start it, and you're ready to go. So if that's another redundancy. You've also got your light switches down there as well, if you'll notice. But again, reliability, one tiny thing that you wouldn't really notice, but a lot of people comment on, is you see all our labels are actually laser cut out.
Oh, that's nice.
And some people say they're a little harder to read, and that is true. But
not necessarily.
50 years from now, that's not going to have faded.
Right.
So all your switches to critical systems, everything, all your labels like that, I mean, your lights, I just say light, whatever, but all your important things right here, all your labels, you can see that in the back as well, they're all laser cut out. Because it's it's a component quality thing, right?
Okay,
if you put a sticker on there, 2 years from now, that sticker may have faded, especially if you're adventuring out in the desert or out by the beach with the door open and the sun and the salt air. That stuff all deteriorates, right? And so you sell it to someone else. They don't know what anything does.
That is great attention
like
to
it's just
detail.
it's all faded out. But you've got power outlets down here as well. So you got USB.
Okay.
You also have a 12-volt port there. You also have your, just for additional wiring and stuff, if you wanted to add another router or whatnot, you have a wire access port here.
Look at that, yes.
And this outlet here. So if you wanted to put like a 4G LTE router or whatnot in there, this switch controls this outlet. So anything you put in here, a lot of people they want for power management. You can just hit one button, shut it all off, so it's no longer draining your battery. So you put whatever you want up here in this cabinet, you control it by one switch. So we used to have that up here. We had a dedicated Starlink cabinet with its own switch, but now with the Mini, you don't have the Starlink router. So that's no longer necessary to wire it over there. So now you have a lot more space with that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to think of the differences between the 23 and the 25. So these doors, we resized them. We also improved the hinges and the latches and everything. But you'll see this comes almost precisely flush. So if someone wants to change or whatnot, you have your privacy there. But this also lines it up to where you can have this open and work here and whatnot without having, because previously it was right here, you can't move past this spot. It was very awkward. So this has really opened up that access area, provides privacy, etc. This should all be the same as the 23.
Okay. Well, we could go over a few of the features in there.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the full wet bath. You got your cassette toilet in there. You got your thing for soap, your toilet paper down there. One thing I like about the shower head is it has an on button.
Right.
What that means, you have to hold it for water to come out. So it's for water management when you're taking a quick B-van shower.
Okay.
Like you don't have to constantly turn your water on and off. You lather up and then you take the button, and as you press it, you quickly rinse off.
Okay.
Very, very efficient. Your shower miser also is another huge thing. So the shower miser, this is your control, this is your light. This, you put it down, it will pull the water out of your line, run it back through your hot water heater once it's hot. You put it up, it puts it back in the line. So your first drop almost out of here is hot. So you can easily take a shower in less than a gallon of water. I've done it all the time. It has a 26-gallon tank. I boondocked for 5 days straight once and still had more than half my water. So very handy. And then this is just your little clothesline, comes out for drying stuff. So I'll usually put that across, put my towels up and turn the fan on, and after a couple hours everything's dried out.
So a shower curtain in there? Or?
So it comes with your owner's bag will come with a little clip-on shower curtain, just because there's not enough space in here to have like a wrap.
And it just goes right across, not around.
So it just
the body
clips onto this frame around this light. It's magnetic. So
now, are there shelves that go in there?
Yes. So you have shelves right here.
Oh, there they are.
So you pull them out. We got a strap so they don't come out during transit. You have your Lagoon mount as well. So if you want to, I think I mentioned that earlier, you got a Lagoon mount down there.
Right down there.
And that's your Lagoon table stored in there.
Okay.
As you know, the bed comes down. This Gree air conditioner, this is a really big thing for the 25s. Very, very energy efficient. It has a scalable compressor. So instead of the Coleman Mach, which will run at like a constant 1500 watts, this will run anywhere from 700 to 1200 watts, depending on its needs.
Okay.
So air conditioners in the past have either been on or off. You have that huge power draw, you have that huge initial surge when you turn it on. This really helps mitigate that. Have a much lower draw. It's like a soft start. So when it starts up, it's not drawing a huge amount of amps. It's not going to short your whole coach out, whatever. But the big thing is, I usually say, just for easy math, you figure 1,000 watts. So our 3 battery pack is equivalent to about just over 10,000 watts of energy. So that's 10 hours of air conditioning runtime. So you're out in a hot area, that is 10 consecutive hours of that thing never turning off. It will run. And you can't, there is nothing else in this class, in this price range, made by another major manufacturer that can beat that. I won't name names or anything to make any specific comparison, but I will say that's the highest air conditioning runtime. One thing I've discovered in product development is that when people ask how much battery you have, all they want to know is how many hours can my air conditioner run.
Okay.
That's all anyone cares about. Because nothing else has the same draw that has. Like nothing else
Right,
burns through power
yeah.
the way that does. So we focused on air conditioning runtime for that reason. Instead of trying to pack more batteries, which is more weight and more money, we tried to focus on becoming more energy efficient.
Okay.
And we're constantly looking at new things. So we may come out with something, if there's a more efficient option, we'll come out with something else. Like I think that's the future.
Sounds
is being
very
more
well
efficient
thought out,
versus
yes.
we just trying to stuff things in. So
Right.
to what you said, the term, you said well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
What I tell people is there are 3 things that set the GH1 apart from the competition. And these 3 things, the first 2 of these things are very emblematic of Tiffin as a whole. Component quality. So you walk in these coaches, other units and whatnot, and a lot of them will look pretty. You start opening cabinets and looking behind the scenes, you very quickly start to realize that
Yeah.
there are a lot of compromises made
Yeah.
sometimes. So again, not naming names, everyone's good at something, so I'm not dissing anybody there, but our focus is on component quality, and this is a perfect example.
Oh, look at that.
You see this really nice, the same thing was on the other van you looked
Yes.
at, this nice plywood cutting board.
Actually, it's bamboo.
Bamboo. I don't know why I said plywood. Your bamboo cutting board.
It's too pretty to be plywood.
Yes, it's very nice. And then your portable induction stove.
Right.
You can take
Fits
out
right in.
here. You can use this as a countertop and hold it right there, or you can put it on the drop-down table. There's a dedicated outlet down
Right.
there. Versus the 23, you also there's no latch. Again, going magnetic.
Okay.
Those magnetic fasteners essentially prevent wear and tear.
There we go.
Never gonna wear out. Never gonna fail.
Okay.
There we go. And this is a very, very strong latch. There's actually 3 different latches involved in closing that
wow.
thing.
So let's take a look at the fridge. So it swings.
It's very
out.
spacious for a B-van
Okay.
fridge.
Look at that, yeah. So this one does have a floppy.
Yeah,
freezer
I mean,
door, though.
it's actually a little bit better optimized for space.
Yeah.
I fit a lot of groceries in this when I field test it. But you'll notice you got your power outlet down there, you got USB ports
Oh yeah, look at
charging
that.
down there.
Yes.
Because we expect this customer to spend a lot of time outside,
Okay.
hanging out around it and
Okay.
whatnot. Speaking of which, you got your bug screens here. You got these are your roll-up screens.
Right.
Very good brand. We have roll-up screens on the rear as well that come
Okay.
down. And on that note, we'll get out and start walking around. So,
Okay.
kind of switching to 2026 here for a second. Actually, you know what? That'll be a teaser. I'll circle back around in a second because I want to go over another big difference in 23 to 25. So in the 23, we have the Xantrex inverter, which is a good inverter, but the 25, we've gone a step further. We've gone from 1 battery to 2 standard with 3 optional. And if you buy 2, we have this set up to where you could buy the 3rd one on Amazon if you wanted, plop it in, drop these bolts, connect your cable, and you're done.
Oh wow.
You have your 3,000 watt Victron inverter. This is one of the most reliable inverters on the market. This whole system is very stable. You'll notice the construction around these. This is heavy gauge black powder coated steel frames. So there's no fire risk here, nothing flammable back here. If for any reason there was an issue, the frame extends all the way up, all the way around. So you have that. So this may look like plastic, but this is a strong steel frame
Okay.
that you could sit on and put a lot of weight on. Or if you wanted to bolt stuff to it and create add-ons or whatnot, Canyon Adventure Vans makes a really cool GLSS system that adds some additional functionality back here. But you got your MOLLE panels for holding on to stuff. And with that, we'll start to transition into
Okay.
the 26. So you'll notice all the stuff I've said about the 25. I've gone over basically every feature, and I've called them all 25. So what's new in the 26?
Yes, do tell.
So everyone keeps trying to cram new technology, new smart tech, whatever. Everyone wants the latest stuff. But we focused our efforts on listening to our customer. I like to just pick up the phone, look at our customer list, and call people and say, what are you using it for? What do you think about it? Like, what are you doing with it? What have you done to how have you modified it? We have a really active Facebook group called GH1 Owners and Wannabes on Facebook. We don't run that. We don't own it. We didn't start it. That's a user-owned, user-run group. It's a fantastic community. I love that group. Everyone's brutally honest. Sales guys only want to hear positive stuff. My job relies on negative feedback, so I love spending time in that group, helping people out, answering questions, because I get really good feedback. what we learned from participating in our community is people that buy these, when you're at a dealer lot buying it, you're thinking, how am I going to modify this? That's what everyone's thinking. What am I going to add on to it? Because of course this is just a platform, right? If you're a biker versus a surfer versus a hiker versus a content creator versus a real estate agent using the adventure bar as a mobile office, you're going to outfit it very differently.
Yes.
So that drives a lot of the decision making. And one thing I saw a lot of, I'm not saying the GH1 in particular, I'm just saying in general in the van groups and whatnot, you see a lot of people, they'll buy their van and then they'll take it to someone like Al Vans or Freedom Van Go or Canyon or anyone like that to get upfit, and they'll have to break the news to them, hey, sorry, that's not compatible with your van, or hey, you can't do that. And now this person who thought they were going to go out biking with it realized, well, I can't put a bike mount on it or something like that. And it can be very disappointing and frustrating. It also creates a lot of anxiety when purchasing. So what we did is put together a list of what are the top mods for adventure vans.
Okay.
And for example, one of the biggest ones was the rear door mounts for spare tire, for the storage, for the bikes, etc. And then we went through the whole list, and of all the most popular ones, I called all the big aftermarket vendors, talked to them, approached them to the shows, like, hey, what are you selling the most of? And then we went to our owners and we said, okay, what are your pain points when you're buying this and installing it? So one of our owners, Brian, he told me that he wanted to put a rear mount on. Al Vans makes a really, really good rear door mount. I don't have a number on it, but the vast majority of ones sold, especially in stolen GH1s, are Al Vans, the rear door mounts. He said the worst part of it is having to drill into your chassis. Because, you buy a really expensive adventure van, and if you mess that up, that's not covered under the Mercedes warranty or the Tiffin warranty. You made that hole, that's on you, you got to replace the whole door. So he's like, man, I was sitting there shaking, and I had sketched it out and taped it up 5 different times. Like, he did not want to drill into his van. So if most people, or a lot of people, want to take it to a shop, well, that adds additional expense. It also creates more time from when you buy the van to when you get to use it. So we talked to Al Vans and said, hey, how can we solve this problem? So their engineers took this plate, which the basic shape is the same as the plate that comes with it, but it's not very pretty, the one that comes with the kit, because it's all covered up, right?
Okay.
So when you drill a hole, what you're doing is you're putting this plate on. It runs a sturdy bolt all the way through your door for everything to rest on. So we're pre-installing this plate. We dressed it up. That's cast aluminum, or not cast, it's aluminum, black powder coated. We made it look pretty, so it's not something you're going to take off if you're not using it, and it doesn't interfere with anything else. What this does is this takes your rear door mount from a several hour install involving drills and whatnot to a 10-minute install with a friend. All you got to do is change your bolts here and here, and run your bolt through. You need a second person to help you lift it on, and you're done. That's it. So you could save up to $1,000 or more on install costs, and you're not risking ruining your warranty. If that is screwed up, now it's on us because we drilled the hole. So drill-free mounting points for all Al rear door carriers. So this logo right here, Al Ready, when we approached Al to start working with this, and we've been working with a lot of aftermarket vendors, they got really, really excited. And they told us, hey, nobody else is actually listening to people on these things. No one else is trying to make their vans more compatible. So they got real excited, and they worked with our engineering team to address all of those major things. They sent us a 45-gallon fuel tank, and their engineers helped our engineers reroute everything underneath so that our van is now the easiest van on the market to install the 45-gallon tank upgrade.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's highlighted over here on another sticker as well.
Okay.
So another one
Good to know.
And these are all highlighted throughout. So your floor mats. People hate, again, drilling into their van. The floor mats, if you want to put your permanent mounting points, you got to drill into it. Well, you got 2 different types of floors. Your cheap floors are plywood. Those get wet, they sag, they mold, they rot. Everyone hates them. This is a very, very premium flooring, very waterproof, very high insulation value. But the downside is it's a honeycomb design
extra,
that doesn't allow for screw retention. So we worked with Al Vans and Habit Mats, etc. Everywhere where you would have to screw in for your Floor mats, we added wood backer underneath. So you can't see it, but if you take that template and you put it down and you start drilling in, what you realize is there's a wood backer in there. There's screw retention now, without losing your insulation and whatnot and the rest of it.
Yes.
So there's no structural wood in here. So if you get wood or rot or whatever, it's not going to, your floor's never going to sag, whatever. But there's little wooden squares everywhere you have to install your anchor points for screw retention, and that's highlighted there.
A lot of people will appreciate that, yes.
Yes, the next one, this is the most expensive one. So if you want, if I had a Adventure van, the first thing I would do is put an always on rear view camera. You can't see out your rear.
Oh yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
And you also want, for liability, you really want a forward facing dash cam as well.
Yes.
Well, there's one camera, the Wolf Box camera, that's like by far the majority of that market. And in the group, we kept seeing a lot of our users, or a lot of our owners, install those. The problem was, in a finished van, how do you wire that camera back there? If you DIY it, some people will like route it and go up on the roof and go over, but then you got the wire hanging out there. It's not very professional. You got the wire crossing the border. To have it professionally installed, I talked to people that had it done. The quotes ranged between $1,200 and $2,000. It's a $350 camera, I think. So you're talking about spending 4 or 5 times the amount of money to get it installed. So I called up Wolfbox. I'm like, hey, can we order just the cables? And they were like, why? I'm like, because we're going to pre-install them. So we have pre-installed the cable front to back.
Amazing.
It's a little hidden right up there. So you just pull down your cable there, pull out your cable. There's a plug in the back. Hook up your camera, hook up your screen.
So
you're
convenient.
done.
Wow.
Another 15-minute, from a $2,000 install at a shop to a 15-minute DIY install with very little tools.
Wow.
So again, all about that aftermarket compatibility. I'm trying to think what all the, trying to make sure I don't miss anything here. On the Starlink, so one thing we heard is people, they go out and they want to get away from the van to do a lot of stuff. Obviously, I mean, you're not, the van is not your end goal. It's not your destination. It's your
your means of travel.
It's your means of travel. Yeah. So once you get there, you want to do stuff. So whether you're a content creator, or you're just a family at the beach or whatnot, or you want to go hiking and you want to video chat someone from the top of a mountain. If your grandmother is laid up in bed and you want to video chat her from up the mountain so she can live vicariously through you, or whatever. May not have cell signal, whatever. What we've done is we've taken the Starlink Mini, which I think is a revolutionary piece of technology, and we have put it on a magnetic mount. So there's a flat plate up top where this attaches to. That hole right there, there's a corresponding hole in the plate, so you run your padlock through there, so nobody can walk off with it. If for some reason someone walked off with it, hidden inside here is a gap that contains that can hold an air tag or a tile. So you put your air tag or your tile in there, and someone steals it, but also you're now tracking your van. So if someone stole your van, you're now tracking it. But there are a lot of aftermarket battery packs for these. So you just buy one of those, put this in your backpack, whatever.
You're good to go.
You're good to go. Go hiking, sit on the beach, whatever, you got your high-speed internet ready to go. Live stream from anywhere. So because of all this working together with OWL and whatnot and working to make it better for the consumer, OWL actually wanted to partner with us. OWL has created a new program called OWL Ready Certification. We are the first and currently the only manufacturer to meet its standards. What this means is that we are the most accessible van on the market to aftermarket mods. So they verify that because they work with us. They deal with enough GH1s in their shops that it was worth their time to sit down with our engineers and be like, hey, how can we help each other optimize? And so they've told them what to do to help move things around and make it easier for OWL to do it, because if it's easier for OWL to install stuff for our customers, then our customers will be more likely to buy it. So it's worth our time to do it as well. So
I think a lot of people will be interested in that.
So, and you're familiar with OWL vans, I'm sure.
Definitely,
So you'll be the first, aside from them and us, to know this. So congratulations.
Well, thank you for
as of now, all OWL vans shops are now fully authorized Tiffin GH1 warranty service centers. So they were real excited to partner up with us on that as well. Having worked with us to optimize the van, they know the quality that's coming in. They know that they're going to be able to work with it, going to work with us. It's a really good partnership. So that came out of, again, talking to our consumers. Our first GH1 owner, Gary, I remember I called him up. First guy to buy a van, I called him and said, "Hey man, what you doing with it? Like, are you going out this weekend or whatnot?" He goes, "Well, I've got like a whole month booked out of different shops." I'm sitting there thinking, man, you just spent probably 6 months researching what to buy, and you bought it. Now you can't use it for a month.
Yeah.
Right? So what we learned through talking to our consumers is that everyone almost that buys these is taking them to get them upfit, get stuff added on. And the majority of people that we talked to were taking them to Al Vans. There's other great shops here, somewhat locally to Tampa, up in Jacksonville. You got Freedom Van Gogh. I went and toured their place earlier in the week. There'd be a great place for you guys to stop by on wherever you're going next. But they do a whole lot of Al parts on their shop and whatnot. You've got plenty of shops around the country that do these upfits. But so we're trying to work with them. Because if that's where our customers are, that's where we want to be. Like we are here to support our customers. We're here to improve. What we have learned from our customers is the adventure customer does not want the latest high-tech novelty. They want to know that they can drive this off the lot, and drive it into the desert, and be off grid for 5 days, and nothing's gonna frickin' fall apart. Like everything's still gonna work.
Definitely. Yes.
If you turn on the news and the zombie apocalypse, like there's a zombie in New York, it bit another person, we're having a breakout. You're gonna go down an RV lot, you're gonna buy one of these, you're gonna fill it with water, and you're gonna head to the desert, and you're not gonna come back until the problem's solved. Right? It's like you go off grid and you stay there. It's like a lot of people, they expect to buy a van and spend the first year just working out the kinks, right? It's become an expectation in the RV world. And we have designed this to not be that way. And our aftermarket partners have been very instrumental in that. So Al's not the only one we're working with. I know the video's getting a little long, but there's still more. Al's not the only one. So you know Van Essentials and Van Wife?
Yes.
So we have swapped out all our L-Track to Van Essentials.
Oh.
It's a much higher quality material when we looked at it. You don't have that play. It's very, very sturdy, very, very good fit.
Great.
We had Van Wife make this for us custom. And that seems like a little part, right? But you got to think, when you're out on the beach, for example, this one part right here is getting more sun than anything else.
Okay.
As far as a part that's used frequently.
Yes.
These rust, these break. This is a common problem on all adventure vans. If you have a table like this, you're going to have to replace the hinge at some point. This is black powder coated aluminum.
Okay.
Thick aluminum. This hinge will not fail. It will not break.
Last.
It's very, very high quality. Made to last.
Yeah.
I am fully confident this is the only adventure van you buy, hold on to it for 10 years. It's going to have the best resale value because component quality is key. So you'll see in the rear back here, we have the same L-Track you just saw up there. So we swapped out the L-Track back here.
Okay.
With the rear, with the Van Essentials. We have this here as well. That Starlink mount that I showed you, that's made by Striker Fabrication, a local company in Florida. They're off-road specialists, they're van guys as well. Our suspension, as you may or may not, I guess that's another difference from the 2025 that I didn't cover, is we have the Agile Off-Road is standard on all of these.
Okay.
So you have the shocks, everything, big package on there. They're great guys to work with, fantastic. And I credit those aftermarket partners very much so with this becoming what it is today, because that's what we discovered when we started participating in the community, is that's who these customers go to for advice, for service, for parts, everything. That's who drives this market. So we want to be there driving it with them.
Yeah, so it's great that you're approaching
hand in hand.
All of this from a different angle, different perspective, and you're
very,
customer
very different.
focused.
One thing I felt like when I got into this market is I felt like everyone's just kind of doing the same thing, right? Everyone's just competing to, like, somebody will put one fancy new thing and then everyone else will got the fancy new thing. If you want to succeed, you want to be different, right? And so what can we do that no one else is doing? And we just focus on quality. We have a good electrical system. So we're not changing it. It's a very reliable, very stable system. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Everybody wants to go 48 volt. 48 volt is the future. But everything at 48 volt right now all the products in the van space have only existed for a year or two. That's not long enough to know how it's going to perform over 5 or 10 years. So we will very proudly plant our flag on we are going to be behind the trend when it comes to new tech on the adventure vans. Other models that are more smart tech, more like never leaving the highway, you have a lot more room for all that smart tech, like the GT1 that you looked at, stuff like that. We'll have all that high-end stuff. But for the off-road stuff, if we're not confident that it's going to last 10, 15 years, we're not putting it in here. We don't put a single component on here that we think people are going to remove. I have yet to meet a single person that has ever replaced the 2025 GH1 ladder. Solid welded construction, black powder coated, again, like other, again, not gonna name names, but I talk to a lot of the upfitters and obviously our aftermarket partners, we hear all the time they're replacing ladders. Some of them are a little salty over the fact that they never get to replace ours. Like they never get to sell their ladders to GH1 owners because, I mean, some people may want a rear one they'll add on, but we don't put cheap stuff on our vans. Like, without raising the price too high, we're always focused on what can we improve without raising the price to the end customer. And that's where things like that wolf box pre-wiring are important. If we just installed that for everybody, now everyone has to pay the price.
Right.
Everyone doesn't necessarily want it. They don't necessarily want to pay for that.
Right.
Things like this rear door thing. We could just put rear door mounts on all of them, but then we have to raise the price.
Right.
But by doing this and putting a $4 part here and a $7 wire there, we're able to offer that opportunity to everyone, that accessibility, without jacking the price up another $10,000, $20,000.
Touching on that point of price, what is the MSRP?
So there's a sheet in here. I'm not a salesperson, I'm product development, but MSRP is $197,672. This one has pretty much every upgrade you can get. Okay. You got your Starlink on board, you got your third battery. This has an optional audio upgrade as well. So this one's like fully loaded, still under $200,000 MSRP. And of course, you only negotiate from there. But yeah, I mean, it's very, so for this quality, I mean, I can tell you, you're not going to find anything comparable. So with this level of component quality, this level of engineering behind it, you're not going to find anything in the same price range. If you get in this, you get in anything else the same price, and you start even opening drawers and using the hinges, you'll very quickly see the difference. Well,
I truly appreciate you going through every detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel so much more knowledgeable about it now, and thank you so much.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's so good to talk to you.
Thank you. Trey with Tiffin Motorhomes. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe to my channel and join me for many upcoming videos. Bye for now.